really find something deep inside you that you're passionate about, or that's very important, because when you're so young, well, how much would you know? How much would you know about?
Exactly, yes.
Unlearn whatever you have learned so far until degree is a very different angle and a very different tangent. First thing you need to do is we need to make you unlearn. You require, for example, in FMCG, uh, you require a lot of decisions or insights about the consumers, a lot more insights about the consumers, and fairly deep insights you would need.
Today's podcast is related to each of us. Fast moving consumer goods, FMCG. We are going to engage ourselves in a conversation with industry leader AVS Subramaniam, and we will explore the innovations, trends, and challenges that shape the industry. Hi, this is Algira Pereira from Era Inspirations, and if you like today's episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Your suggestions, questions, and comments are invited in a comment box.
Uh, I believe that learning, being very focused on learning, picking up new things, being open to new things is very important in a management career and in an FMCG, for a career in FMCG and in marketing. I believe that uh, being open-minded is very important. I remember still I spent a little time in an institute called Institute of Rural Management, Anand. Okay. At that time, I was a very young 19-year-old, and I was stepping out of my home state for studies for the first time, and have gone to Gujarat. Okay. So IRMA had very, probably still has, very accomplished faculty. So in one of my very first classes, MBA classes there, I remember what this gentleman told us, the professor told us. He said, first thing we are going to do with you in this institute is to help you unlearn. Okay, unlearn whatever you have learned so far until degree is a very different angle and a very different tangent. First thing you need to do is we need to make you unlearn. By unlearn, what he means is our educational system, our context, our the state that you come from, the country that you come from, the nationality, the religion, the community, the village or the town, whatever it is, that kind of a living context, it builds a lot of assumptions in our minds. We operate out of a lot of assumptions which are built on that context. Okay, and we many times we because of the power of these assumptions, we are unable to see life, or make assumptions about life, or see life beyond that. It's like the classic elephant story. The elephants actually are bound by a little thin string. Okay, and that is how the mahout controls the elephant. So when somebody asked, how does a small string of a rope, how does a small string control the elephant? You know the story. As when the elephants were young calves, they were tied like that. So they got used to that assumption that if somebody ties a string, that means that you cannot move, you cannot escape. Okay, so that was the kind of assumption people make. So we have to get rid of our assumptions. Okay, that is very important for a career in FMCG, definitely, and in industry, and in management in general. Okay. And I don't know, not even management, for life in general, to have a friendly, amiable life with other people. And if we don't find it too foreign, I mean, we have to mix with people around the world. No, we have to think of ourselves as global.
Absolutely.
So for stuff like that, it's necessary that we unlearn, get rid of our assumptions, at least recognize our assumptions, acknowledge them, and then move out of it. So unlearning, being conscious of your assumptions and biases, and being open-minded to learn new things, not being fearful of something new and something foreign. Okay, not being fearful, but as a matter of fact, expecting it, wanting it, seeing excitement and learning opportunities in it is very important for growth. Okay, and those are the kind of magic ingredients, which will make any dish, a success. So one needs to be open to learning new things and be courageous, be bold, like people like yourself. You are out of your hometown, home country, confines of your family, coming out, traveling around. I myself, for me, this is the 7th country I'm working in, okay, which I'm calling my home, okay. Traveled a lot, traveled to lots of countries, maybe 70, 80 countries I must have traveled. By traveled, I don't mean transiting, but, having spent a little time there, spent a few days there and or going back repeatedly, etc. I think that it's necessary to expose yourself to new experiences, to new contexts, and recognize that people who speak differently, who look different, whose skin color is different, are not necessarily superior or inferior. They're just different. They just come from a different context. Okay, so I think that kind of an experience and exposure is very important in every context. So that is I don't know, that's the magic formula I would suggest for every young person who wants to move up in life. Don't worry about money. It's like money. I would say, if I had to put it this way, if you want to go out on a holiday, let's say, okay, now you will plan and say that, okay, today I'll go to the beach, or I'll go to the mountains, or I'll go on a trek, or I'll go to the cinema, or I'll go out with friends. You don't say that today I will go out where oxygen is available. Oxygen is available everywhere. Okay?
Yeah.
Say a movie hall, is available in a fine dine restaurant, it's available on top of mountain. Okay, wherever you go, it is available. Okay, it's a question of what do you want to do with your time. Okay, so in the same way, money or rewards are available in every field. It's available in journalism, it's available in management, it's available in sales, it's available in HR, it's available in hospitality, it's available in hospitals, it's available everywhere. It's a question of what interests you, what interests you. And if you're truly, I don't mean passion, it's very difficult to figure out what, I don't know what my passion is. It's very difficult. It's easy. I see this word being thrown around, find out what you're passionate about. Who the hell knows what you're passionate about? We don't know, to figure out what you're passionate about. The Munis and Swamis were doing some, what is that? Some prayers for, decades, to figure out. We do not know what our passion is. We know that there are 10 things that interest me. Okay. For example, cricket interests me. Okay. Reading interests me. Okay. Talking to people interests me. Being curious about why people do certain things interests me. A little bit of philosophy interests you. Okay. So this way you pick 10, 20, 12 things that interest you and pursue them. Okay.
Exactly.
And pursue whichever seems, and it will lead you. It will lead you to something useful. Make no mistake about it. Okay. In general, yes, of course, one has to be purposeful. We should not. One needs to be purposeful. That, I think, is again a core thing that is important.
Yes, purpose is important.
Okay, so based on what you heard, anything specific you want to move me? I can talk like this for an hour. So, but
but it's really nice to hear you, sir. So I won't mind even if you keep talking and talking. We admire you as a person. So I've seen that you are an energetic person, and you motivate a lot indirectly. And when you speak, your words itself means a lot. So that, I think, I don't know about others, but to me, it is an inspiration. So that's why I wanted even the other audience to have a touch of a little bit about your inspiration. And yes, we would like to know more about how this industry has helped you.
Latter, Chama. Okay, you are. Right. So, yeah. So having a purpose, I think, is also important. One should not. You see, when I look back at my career, I come from one of the southern states in India called Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so it was a fairly. I come from a middle class family, like many people. Okay, like many of us. Uh, my father was a railway transferable officer in railways. Mm, so we used to stay in railway colonies and so on. So, but the thing is, one thing that my parents did in my context, they did was never to force any idea onto to me or to any of my siblings. Never to force any idea. There was a lot of value given to education. Okay, study was a study, because that is the basic thing. Without that, you will not have a viable life. Study was a big value that was driven in. Virtually no other value was driven in. That you need to pray to this god or to pray to God at all, etc. So those kinds of things were not driven, and we had a complete freedom. There was no uh, nothing really saying. We were as children left to self-regulate. So nobody told me that, hey, from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock you have to study, and 5 to 7 you go and play and come back, and then you have to do homework. If homework had to be done, I did it on myself. So did my siblings. So it is not a value only for me. It was a value shared by my family. So, and it turned out well. And the thing is, I also joined. I kind of floundered around in the beginning. Okay, which is what I was saying, that you need to pick 7, 8, 10 things that interest you and pursue each of them to see where it logically ends. For instance, it's a fact that I joined first an MBA institute called IRMA, which anybody would love to at that time, or even now, would love to join, or get admission to. I joined it. After about 9 months, 10 months, I said, this is not my cup of tea, and I left. Okay, now that is more than me, who didn't know what was happening around me. I would give credit to my parents and elders who backed me up and said that, okay, if you don't like it, then come out. There's nothing hard and fast about it. Okay. But here was the course which, instead of me having to pay fee for a middle class family, okay, they didn't have to pay fee for my joining that institute. The institute was paying me a stipend, and placements were guaranteed. I mean, and that kind of a situation I'm talking about, early 80s. Okay. But my family supported me. They said, if you feel like, if you don't think this is not making sense to you, come out. So I got out of the course after about 2 semesters, somewhere in the third semester or something like that. But they allowed me to do that. They said that it was not only that they gave me a safety net, they also gave me the confidence that even if you move out of here, we are damn sure that you'll get into something else that will interest you, and where you will make good in life. So that was the confidence that they had. So I came out. Then I got myself into a job somewhere. I did that for 1.5 years in some remote parts of West Bengal, and then came out. Then so in between, having breaks in between, because I got out of that job and joined my first master's degree. There was a gap of 3 to 4 months, and I didn't know which postgraduate degree I was going to get into. Okay, then did that, then went on and did an MBA, and so on and so forth. So there were lots of breaks and discontinuities. It's not life is never a linear path that you move from one to the. If life is a linear path, it will be very, very boring. That's what I would tell you. Okay,
Yes.
Life goes up and down like that, and that's what makes it interesting. It's not that you achieve a particular role that is, that makes life interesting. You get to that role. What is the journey you've taken to get to that role? What is the path you've trod, and what is the experiences you've had? Who are the kinds of people you've met with? How much do you know about yourself? Okay, through this journey. Because at the end of the day, my friend, it's all about, as they say, you come alone into this world, you will go out of this world alone. Okay, so this whole damn thing is about knowing yourself. Okay, what was I? What do I want? What do I like? What do I seem to enjoy? What seems to drive me? Where am I going? Okay, I've got there. Okay, now what? Okay, so it's a matter of enjoying that journey and the process. That's what real success is. Success is not having a million or a billion in the bank or something like that. It's a matter of how you made that million or how you made that billion. That is
Exactly.
what
Yes.
a path that is important. And why I'm saying that is the million or a billion is irrelevant because you're going to leave it all behind here.
Yeah.
So the true thing you take with you, that you imbibe, that becomes you, okay, that becomes you is what you've gone through. That is what you are, okay? Not the money in the bank, or not the car you drive, not the house you live in, not the clothes you wear. It is what you've gone through while getting there,
Right.
So I would say that, I mean, this is why I'm saying if I do not have any structured advice to people, okay?
Mhm.
Other than this
So,
kind of gyan. So, yeah.
but it's interesting.
Mm.
Would you like to share some principles that you live by?
Mm,
Personal, personal
uh,
principles. Yeah.
the principles, as in, I have seen one thing with me. This has been my experience. I do things which I like and which I enjoy. Somehow, I would say that my life has been privileged. Okay,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, imagine the kind of privileged you need to be to walk out of a bloody good national level institute and say
Exactly.
that that's
Yes.
okay, I will get in somewhere else. You need to be.
Yes.
That privilege didn't come with money.
Mhm.
It came with family support. It came with
Mhm.
self-confidence. It came with my interest that, I
Mhm.
want to do something. It came with wanting to do something, maybe I do not know what it is, but wanting to do something at that age. Because when you're a teen, you do not know. I mean, we are bloody lucky if today we know what we want. Okay. When
Mhm.
you're a teen, there is hardly any chance that what you want.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
that's why when you force teens and people who are too young to find a purpose, to find something, they usually settle for something that is popular or a fad. Okay,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's difficult to really find something deep inside you that you're passionate about, or that's very important. Because when you're so young, well, how much would you know? How much would you know about
Exactly. Yes.
all the great learnings people had? So, in short, I really do. Mm, I try to make sure that I'm happy, contented, at peace with myself all the time. That is
Mhm.
what dictates whether I sit down for a particular experience, whether I go through that experience, whether I do a particular job, whether I do a particular course, whether I sit through and watch that YouTube, uh, whatever YouTube, what do you call it? Film, or what is one?
Videos.
Will I go through one full YouTube video or not?
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
take this example. If you sit through at home and go through a YouTube video, if you don't like it after, let's say, 3.5 minutes, even though it's a 12-minute video, you will stop and move to something else. Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now, when you go to a movie hall, buy a ticket and sit in the movie, and you don't like the movie after 45 minutes, you don't get up and move out. Right?
Yes.
You somehow
Yeah.
feel locked in. Okay. So that is the example that I'm talking about. I would get up and leave if I do not like the movie. Okay.
I like that.
Okay. So the thing is, so same thing happens with a particular job or being in a particular context. I don't mean it in a very frivolous in the context of a movie. Obviously, I'll continue to watch the movie because my wife is there, my daughter is there, some friends have come, so I can't get up and move. But the thing is, or I can, if it's a particular business context or a particular employment. I mean, I'm just giving an example of employment because some of your viewers may be young managers who are coming up. So if it's a company that I do not like, if I'm in a department or work that I do not like, where I'm learning. Okay, learning is
Mhm.
very important for young people. Absolutely, learning is
Yeah.
important throughout your life. Throughout
Yeah.
your life, and in your career, 100% you have to keep learning all the time. Okay, the moment you stop learning, that's the end of the career.
Exactly.
And in a very different way, it's the end of life. Okay, there's nothing else to life other than learning and getting newer experiences. Okay, so if I'm with a if I'm in an employment or in a particular country and I'm doing a particular assignment, it's very important that I feel I'm at peace while doing that assignment, and I'm happy and I'm fully absorbed and obsessed with it. I need to get obsessed, passionate. That is where passion comes. Then once you get into it, only you will say that I like this. I'm passionate about it. I'll get it. So otherwise, passion, I would say, is more related to a particular thing that you've already got yourself into. Then you get obsessed with it. Okay, but otherwise you can't stand out and say that I'm passionate about writing, for example. Okay, I can be passionate about writing this particular piece, but I don't know if I'm passionate about writing in general, or things like that, so that is the so a lot of support and was there from my family, which I think was very important in my growth.
Yes.
And so I had that kind of a privilege, in a way. It's a privilege, like I was saying. I was saying that the privilege is not really associated with monetary privilege, or being born in some hi-fi country or something like that. It's not that. It's that the family was there to support, and that is very important.
Absolutely. Yes.
You never do things by yourself. It is the family. I was the youngest of 6 children. Okay, I do not know. Today I can only sit down and imagine that there must have been sacrifices made relating to the education or investment made into my elder siblings' careers or lives, which then got channeled into my life, So one needs to be grateful. One needs to be grateful for all the things that you are not aware of, because of which, you are able to make something better out of yourself. So I would say having that gratitude is very important. Having that safety net is important, and being purposeful, being open to learning, I think are important. I do not know if these all rank together as values, or some are principles, some are values, some are something else. But these are the ingredients that go into the soup that makes the soup tasty, I guess, So
Agree.
I do not know.
Yes.
Which of this is protein, which of this is spice, but
yes, I agree to you, sir. One has to be open to learn throughout the life, because as we grow, we kind of unveil many other things. I have noticed that personally.
Very true. Very true.
What motivates you to be so energetic and so active all the time?
But what makes anyone think I should be less energetic than I am?
Good question.
I don't think I'm energetic. I think I'm lazy. That's what I think. I keep telling myself, today is a Friday. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here. What is energetic? It's not physically going out somewhere, or playing cricket or running 10,000 10 kilometers every day. I don't think that is what is energetic. Energetic is bubbling with things to interact, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about are you passionate about something? I mean, are you interested in talking about something? Are you interested in expressing something or communicating? So I would say I have an interest in life. I have an interest in life. Even if a person comes, and this happens in work all the time, people come, sit down, they want to tell you their problems. So even when you're listening, it's not really passive listening, it is active listening, because you're listening to what that person is saying in words, but also meaning behind the words. Okay. So there is life is an active sport. No, it's a contact sport. Life is a contact sport. Life is not a sit back and it goes by kind of a sport. So in a contact sport, then you have to be on your toes and running all the time.
Yes, that's right. So now we'll move on to FMCG, and we would like to know more what is FMCG, because we have audience who will not know what is FMCG as well.
FMCG really stands for fast moving consumer goods, that I'm sure a number of people know. Okay. Now, what makes FMCG something special is there are, let's say, there are 6 or 7 components that go into, let's say, a kind of a transaction, or how goods flow from. Let me take it from the consumer. Okay, how a consumer or a housewife or a household, how a consumer consumes the product, and in what proportions, in what dosage, with what frequency, where do they store it, how do they buy it, how frequently they buy it, etc. Okay. Now, these are common, whether you're talking about a washing machine or you're talking about a shampoo. Okay. There is a particular rate at which you use it, there's a particular frequency with which you use it, there's a particular way you store it, etc. Okay. Now, but on each of these parameters, there is a scale. Okay. There is a scale at which, for example, you use shampoo much faster than you exhaust a bottle of shampoo much faster than you exhaust a washing machine. Okay. A washing machine you will exhaust in 5 years. Or whatever, 6-year time. Okay. A bottle of shampoo you will probably exhaust in 1 month. Okay. So there is a scale. Okay. So on that scale, how frequently you go and buy it. Okay. When you go and buy it, for example, if I'm talking about a shampoo, then you get an opportunity, because you're consuming a bottle every month, then you have an opportunity to choose a brand every month. Okay. Whereas a washing machine, if it's going to use it for 6 years, or let's call it 10 years, then you only get a chance to make a decision about some 3 brands or 4 brands. So because that scale is different and it is on the faster end of it, the amount of engagement involved, the amount of activity involved in wanting, in getting to a success or getting to a higher market shares, or capturing the loyalty or retaining the loyalty of the consumer, etc., that entire ball game becomes very, very different, very, very different, and it needs to be very insightful. And I mean, everything needs to be insightful, but here it's important to be very agile in all ways. So it's a little like there are sports, all kinds of sports. Okay, for example, there is snooker, billiards is also a sport, cricket is also a sport, fencing is also a sport, boxing is also a sport. But it's certain sports, the amount of the agility with which you have to react, the amount of awareness you need about how focused you need to be on certain things, and so on, are different. So FMCG comes with its own package of insights that are required to make decisions. So you require, for example, in FMCG, you require a lot of decisions or insights about the consumers, a lot more insights about the consumers, and fairly deep insights you would need. Okay. So that's what makes FMCG interesting, because there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of things can change,
Exactly. It's
quickly,
quite dynamic.
much quicker, So anyway, so because of certain parameters, then that is why it is called FMCG, and there is a whole structure of of how that supply chain works.
Exactly. So it is quite real-time type of a job. So do you think the jobs are very safe in this industry?
Well, they are as safe as they are in any other industry. So
because if one doesn't update himself and his knowledge, he may not be able to cope up with the pressure of the industry. So I think this might demotivate someone who's aspiring to be in this field.
Yes, very true. Because of the profile of this industry, many of the people, that's why people who are not from this industry would not find it very easy to fit in. Okay. would not find it very easy to fit in.
Mhm.
Yes, it's possible to play the game uh, with lower level of activity, with lower levels of efficiency, with lower levels of productivity, or at higher levels. So a well-trained person who comes from that industry, who understands the dynamic of how things move in that industry, if you're faced with an organization like that, or a structure like that, then it's necessary that you are also on top of your game. Otherwise it is difficult to hold on and win. So
Mhm.
so that is how it is. So yes, you're right. So it's necessary for people who want to FMCG industry to have proper training, get that experience, and get that exposure. So that's why, and it's not it for a fact. It is important that one spends time with uh, some big brands. That is important. Okay, it's, because they give you certain basics uh, of how that organization or how that activity needs to be organized, and what roles are there, and so that kind of clarity is required to work with big brands. But as career progresses, you would find that you get a lot of juice by working in smaller companies, because smaller companies give you a lot more
Exposure.
lot more ability to impact the whole environment.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're so let's say regional manager or branch manager in Unilever in Calcutta, you can only impact a small part of the business.
Yeah,
Okay, whereas
specific department.
if you work with a small company, then you can impact everything about the company. How the whole
Yeah.
you can impact the industry, and so on. So yes, in FMCG, proper education would certainly help. Getting getting some work experience with good brands, good companies, very helpful.
Nice.
But
And
importantly, again, I go back to the personal qualities. That is what is important, which are fairly universal. Okay, you need to be open-minded. You need to be ready to learn. You need to be ready to put in the work. Put in the work means, like you say, why am I active? I'm active because I'm interested. I'm interested in doing this. So that kind of an interest should be there. That is more important in FMCG. Much more important. It becomes very clear. It's not that.
so now I would like to take one of the question of my audience, because when I inform some of my participants that I'm going to interview somebody from FMCG, their question was like, since it is a very dynamic industry, how does one keep themselves calm in this particular uh, field? Like, how they keep themselves grounded in this field.
Yeah. You see, there will be a lot of pressures in the FMCG industry. There are a lot of pressures. So that's why one needs to have perspective of what is my role, what am I being asked to do. I mean, if somebody is a sales rep or a manager or something, they should have a clearer idea what is the overall objective that needs to be achieved, and that and how his behavior or his actions will impact, or will take the whole team or the company, or will take us closer to the objective or take us away from the objective. One needs that clarity for everything in FMCG. Perspective and clarity are very important. If you have those, then you can remain calm, because you know that uh, this is what the amount of gap is between what we should have done and what has not been done. See, for example, you suppose I tell you that today I wanted to catch a taxi, but I could catch the taxi and I got delayed by 10 minutes. Okay? That doesn't tell you whether the 10 minutes, so what's the significance of that? Okay? So if the 10 minutes involved losing, some big thing somewhere, which you missed, some event, big event that you missed, then the 10-minute delay was very, very important.
Exactly.
So the 10-minute delay is, five of us friends said that, we'll go and have lunch at 1 o'clock. And I got delayed by 5 minutes and landed up 5 minutes, 10 minutes late. No big deal. So one needs to have a perspective and a context of what is happening. What did I achieve? For a lunch with 5 of my friends, I could arrive 10 minutes earlier also. What's the big deal? Okay. But if I arrive 10 minutes early, when I have to meet the president of some company or some minister or something like that, then that's important. Okay. So in FMCG, it's important to have that context, because there are always a lot of activities and actions that need to be done. So you should not think that, oh my God, I was late by 10 minutes, so the whole world has come down. No, nothing has happened. Okay. It depends on what the context is. Maybe not 10 minutes, even 1 minute delay could be disastrous. It depends on the perspective, it depends on the context. So that is something that one needs to understand. That is why in FMCG industry, you will have managers explaining things. I mean, I have spent, I don't know how many man days of my career or man months of my career standing in front of a board, okay, drawing things and explaining connections and explaining with flow charts, with diagrams of processes, multiplying numbers, showing how the numbers flow, etc. Because it's important that everyone understands what exactly is happening, And
yes.
So you almost like a teacher, it's a kind of it's not a teacher, it's an explaining job. This is what the context is. This is the perspective. It's not something else. It's not something bigger, not something smaller. This is exactly what it is, and this is what is expected to be done by you. Okay. So that clarity and perspective is very important in FMCG industry.
Wow, it's super interesting to talk to you, sir. And just before I could wrap up, I have one more question. What are the possible jobs that are going to open in this industry in future? Like a new role or something?
Like in any other industry, like in many, many other industries, technology, information, IT is going to play a big time role in revamping this industry as well. Okay.
Yes, I can see that.
There are many things that are done. There are many processes, not only in FMCG, but in business in general. There are many, many processes which are actually currently inefficiently handled by human beings. Okay. So it's not a question of but what will people do? Then how will a person who is only so educated do, etc.? It's not a question of all that. It is that this is the reality that is rolling into us. So our reaction should not be emotional. Our reaction should be practical. Okay, but there are a lot of changes that IT is going to bring in. IT, AI, these are all sunrise industries right now. They are going to bring in. I mean, now we are able to robotically conduct surgeries. Okay, so where is the question of delivering products, or picking up orders from retail outlets, or finding out how much of shelf space is there, or which brand is occupying how much of shelf space, and what are the TRPs or eyeballs that different brands are getting, etc. These will all be available at fingertips. So I think that the big things that will happen is that, and they are already happening, is that you will not have big customer groups. There will be huge amount of segmentation, and there'll be a lot more customization. Okay, so I mean, don't take me literally, but what I mean is the shampoo that you use can be unique to you, and maybe there are only some. I mean, right now maybe there are 10 variants of a particular milk that we use, or a cheese that we use, or a butter that we use, but tomorrow there would be 1 million variants. Okay?
Yes.
Many of them customized to your requirements. So it's not only products, even the brands, the messaging, the way a brand connects to the consumers, etc., will be fairly split. So it will, a fast moving consumer goods industry will become faster moving. That's all I can tell. So
this is really interesting to know. Like, it is going to be customized as per customers' needs. And I think I can see that already happening.
think, it'll be, people like we, as a matter of fact, would always welcome, and this is what we do this is what I do in my job as well. I basically give face time to the team members. That's what they need. They need that face time. They need that interaction. Everybody has doubts and queries and questions, and and you would like to have some sounding board. Not necessarily a person who knows better. Nobody knows better. We do not know if the other person knows better or not. But with a little bit of sounding board, things become clearer in your own mind. So that is how it is. So
I have
good.
personally taken a lot of information from you today, and I've learned a lot. And I'm sure the audience as well have enjoyed the conversation.